All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about something that's, well, it's pretty much every homeowner's worst nightmare. It usually starts with this tiny little sound, something you can barely even hear. Maybe a quiet drip, a little gurgle. But what comes next? It's a full on race against an opponent that literally never sleeps: water. And that's the thing about water. It's like this silent invader. It doesn't need to kick down your door, right? It just finds the tiniest little crack, the weakest seal, and once it's in, oh man, it gets to work right away, and it does not stop.
So let's paint a picture. It's, say, 2 a.m. The whole house is dead quiet. And then you hear it. That sound. Drip, drip, drip. That isn't just a leaky faucet. That is the starting pistol firing for a race you had no idea you were even in. And you know what's crazy? The cause could be, well, just about anything. We're not just talking about some massive storm flood here. Nope. It could be the little supply line to your toilet. Or maybe the water heater in your garage just decides, you know what? I'm done. Or even a simple dishwasher overflow. The threat can pop up from anywhere at any time. This is what you've got to remember. The water itself, that's only half the battle. Your real enemy, the one that makes every single decision so incredibly critical, is time. Every single second that ticks by, the damage isn't just getting worse, it's getting exponentially worse. Which brings us to probably the most critical window in any water damage situation. We're talking about the 48-hour countdown. Seriously, what happens in just these 2 days can be the difference between a pretty manageable repair and a total catastrophic loss. So check out this number, 24 to 48. These aren't just numbers we pulled out of a hat. No, this is the scientifically proven window of time. Because somewhere between 24 and 48 hours after that water gets in, a brand new enemy shows up to the party: mold. And this timeline, wow, it shows you just how fast things go off the rails. I mean, within the first hour, water is already soaking into the bones of your house. We're talking drywall, insulation. By day one, your beautiful wood floors are starting to warp and buckle, and yep, mold is already starting to grow. You wait 48 hours, now that mold is spreading, and the actual structure of your house could be in trouble. And if you hit the 1 week mark, forget about it. You are looking at a completely different and way, way more expensive problem. So let's be super clear about what's really on the line here. We're talking about your floors warping so bad they might never be the same. Drywall that just swells up and crumbles. Insulation that turns into a soggy, completely useless mess. And here's the really scary part: your electrical systems. They can become a serious shock or even a fire hazard. This isn't just about things looking bad, you know? This is about the fundamental safety and integrity of your home. Okay, so that was a lot of bad news. I get it. But here's the good news. There is a playbook for this. The pros, they don't just show up with a bucket and a mop. They have a methodical, scientific process that's all about stopping the damage in its tracks and basically trying to reverse the clock. And it really all boils down to these 3 critical steps. First things first, they do an emergency assessment to figure out just how bad things are. Then comes the really intense part: getting all that water out and starting the scientific drying process. And only then, once everything is stable and completely dry, can they even begin to think about the final restoration and rebuilding. Now, you're probably going to hear this acronym thrown around a lot: IICRC. And it's a big deal. This is the nonprofit that actually sets the industry standards for this kind of work. So when a company is IICRC certified, it doesn't just mean they do a good job. It means they're following strict safety protocols, and this is huge, they're providing the kind of detailed documentation that your insurance company is absolutely going to demand. Okay, this is super important. Not all water is the same, not even close. Where the water comes from literally determines everything. So take a look at this. A leak from a clean supply line, that's category 1, pretty straightforward. But water from, say, a dishwasher overflow, that's category 2, and it's got some nasty stuff in it. And then there's category 3. We're talking sewage backup or a flood. That is grossly contaminated water, and it's a serious health risk. The way you handle that is completely different. All right, so once all the standing water is gone, that's when the real science kicks in. See, this isn't about just making things look dry to the naked eye. It's about making them scientifically dry. This whole phase is the bridge from that emergency, stop the bleeding moment to actually rebuilding your home. And this is a really crucial distinction you need to get: mitigation versus restoration. Think of it this way. Mitigation is the emergency first aid. It's stopping the bleeding, right? It's getting the water out, setting up the fans and dehumidifiers.
Restoration, that's the surgery. That's the rebuilding and repairing that happens after, and only after, the structure is 100% verifiably dry.
So the big question everyone always asks is, okay, how long is this going to take? And typically, the drying part alone takes about 3 to 5 days. But as you can see here, it's not a one-size-fits-all deal. Porous stuff like drywall, it dries way faster than dense wood framing or concrete. That's why the pros are in there every day with moisture meters and thermal cameras, monitoring everything to make sure each material hits its specific drying goal. And that brings us to the main point here. Dry isn't just a feeling, it's a number. The whole goal is to reach what's called the dry standard. This is a specific moisture level defined by the IICRC for every single material in your home. It's the point where mold physically cannot grow, it's the finish line of this race, and it's verified by science, not by guesswork. So, how do you just avoid this whole nightmare altogether? Well, the best strategy is a really good defense. So let's shift gears from reacting to a disaster to being proactive and maybe preventing one from ever happening in the first place.
And the best part? A lot of this prevention stuff is actually pretty simple. Seriously, these aren't massive weekend projects. We're talking about checking your appliance hoses for cracks, cleaning out your gutters, and, this one is absolutely critical, knowing exactly where your main water shutoff valve is and how to use it. Think about it. Spending $5 to replace a washing machine hose every few years could literally save you tens of thousands of dollars down the road. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. We all have a smoke detector, right? It's there to warn us about fire. But what's your alarm for water? A threat that statistically is way more common. At the end of the day, being prepared isn't just about having a great plan for when disaster strikes. It's about doing the little things to prevent ever needing that plan in the first place.